Thanks, guys. Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
They got this. Good morning, there we go. So, yes, my name's Eric. All right, real quick question. How many of you guys went to Wayside? Okay, so you probably all know my mom. She's the librarian over there. Yeah, so I, born and raised in Ocean Township, went to Wayside, went to the intermediate school. I actually went to biotech for high school, so I didn't get to come here. But I've got a degree in directing film from Emerson College. I've been acting since I was 8. As far as Shakespeare goes, I've done a bunch of productions all around New Jersey. I was in Hamlet up in Rahway. I worked on A Midsummer Night's Dream. I've done the play Shakespeare Abridged a couple times, and now I'm actually performing as Hamlet in another production up in the Highlands. So that's where I'm coming from as far as Shakespeare goes, and that's why they brought me in here today, to try to help you guys through some of your Romeo and Juliet stuff as you guys go into your finals. So let's see where to start. So let's start with this idea. Shakespeare is not important. That's the thing that I think trips everyone up, is that everyone assumes it's Shakespeare. It has to be important. It has to be delivered in an important way. We have to do these big, important lines in such with this important voice and these important gestures. And that is where everyone gets tripped up trying to do Shakespeare. Because the thing about Shakespeare is, yes, he's got, his language is a little bit impenetrable when we're starting out with it. And yeah, it's full of prose and poetry and imagery and references and all kinds of stuff that makes it hard to get through. But the reason that Shakespeare stuck around, plenty of people write poetry, plenty of people have been writing poetry forever. The reason Shakespeare sticks around is because Shakespeare, underneath the poetry, is writing about normal people and putting them in normal situations, and that kind of thing is relatable. And that is the reason Shakespeare we still teach Shakespeare in every school every year. How many of you guys have heard of To Be or Not to Be? All right. How many of you guys know what it means? Yeah?
It was when Hamlet was deciding whether he should live or kill himself.
Close. That's what everybody thinks. You fell a little bit into the trap there, and you can read Hamlet that way. But if you read Hamlet that way, that's a very, very depressed reading of Hamlet. That makes him a very cynical, very nihilistic character. The real core of To Be or Not to Be, that everyone, it's a page and a half long monologue, and everyone knows To Be or Not to Be. That is the question, and all these different quotes from it. The core point of To Be or Not to Be, when you get to it, is why do we bother? Why would we bear and deal with all the problems in the world instead of like you said, killing ourselves, moving, just getting past this and moving to something else, because we don't know what comes after. He says, who would, he says fardels, which is just burdens. So who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the thought of something after death puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills that we have than go to others we know not of. That's the core of To Be or Not to Be. And that question of why do we put up with this? Because we don't know what's next. And it's that idea of being so scared of the unknown that it keeps us paralyzed. That's the core of that most famous speech of Shakespeare. And that moment kind of is something that's relatable. You guys kind of felt that fear of the unknown and that kind of keeps you from doing something that you might want to try? All right, a couple nods. We're still waking up. I got you. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that makes Shakespeare relatable, and that's the kind of thing that I'm going to try to help you guys out with Romeo and Juliet, is finding those moments that you guys can connect with, because that's what's going to help you get through the language. And yeah, there's going to be a little bit. You have to look up some of the words and find out what they mean and try to work your way through the references in the verse. But the important thing is that the core, Romeo and Juliet, is about that feeling of being excited, that feeling of being in love, whether it's with another person, whether it's with an idea, whether it's with something you love to do, and just having that this thing that just is so powerful, and you just connect to it so much that makes you want to do absolutely anything. That's the core of Romeo and Juliet's relationship. Because from the outside, Romeo and Juliet's relationship is a horrible idea. From most angles, Romeo and Juliet's a horrible idea. There's a lot of Romeo and Juliet that is really kind of absurd. Getting into it, that's what's. There's actually a theory that Romeo and Juliet was originally intended to be a comedy. Before Shakespeare wrote the ending, that the original first draft or first ideas with it were comedic, because when you kind of think about the premise, you have these two families that are fighting over something. They don't even remember what they're fighting over, and some of them take it seriously, and some of them take it really seriously. And then you have these two kids who see each other once and immediately decide to fall in love forever, and it's just it feels kind of, to me, kind of silly. And somehow because it's Shakespeare, and because we've decided Shakespeare's important, we've turned this into this, greatest romance of all time. And now everyone learns it in high school, and everyone thinks about, this is I'm not sure everyone thinks about it as a good example of love. I don't, but it's got this feeling to it. It's got this weight to it of being this powerful romantic play, when it's, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be, teaching especially teenagers that, the best version of love is to fall madly in love with someone you met a day ago, and when it doesn't work out, to kill yourself. That seems like not a great thing we should be holding up as an example of romance. So what we're going to do today is try to cut through some of the language and get down to the normal people at the core of this, and at the core of Romeo and Juliet, and try to help you guys with your understanding of Shakespeare and understanding of Romeo and Juliet, and get you guys, at a good place to not only get through this final, but also get, you're freshmen, you're going to be reading Shakespeare more next 3 years. And if any of you guys end up doing theater stuff, and you run across Shakespeare again, hopefully you'll be able to, you'll have a little firmer ground, and not coming into it imagining it's just this impenetrable cloud of poetry somewhere off in the distance that other people understand, but really doesn't connect to the real world. Because that's a lot of what Shakespeare gets accused of, and can be true if you don't, if it's not performed well, or if you just block it off and think, I'll never understand it. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got about Shakespeare is that Shakespeare doesn't have levels of talent as far as his performances go. It's levels of understanding. The characters are pretty simple. It's knowing what they're saying and what they mean. So, with that said, let's take a look at Romeo and Juliet. You guys all have different scenes you're working on, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody want to come up here with me? Bring up your scene, and we'll start looking at it.
I know I have a class that will certainly not.
I'm sure they will. Let me ask the question differently. Who wants a little bit of a cheat learning what their scene means? Okay, there you go. Come on up. There you got a place. Cool. All right, what scene do you have?
Act 2.
Act 2? Which scene?
Have you edited it down a bit, or is it word for word?
It's scene 2 and scene 5. Scene 6.
Okay.
So Eric, because they only have 5 minutes to film.
Okay.
Some of them have edited their scenes down a little bit.
Okay.
So there might be, portions that they
Gotcha.
moved for the sake of brevity.
Okay. You in the balcony scene?
Yeah.
Gio has a
Gotcha.
copy.
Okay. How am I doing this? Let's look over here. Cool. Okay. All right. Real quick. Let's see. Have any of you guys heard of the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged? Okay. Good. The whole show, it's a comedy show. It is 3 actors trying to do all of Shakespeare in 90 minutes. very quickly goes off the rails. They do an abridged version of Romeo and Juliet. They abridge Hamlet. They do all the comedies as one play because the comedies are basically the same plot over and over and over again. They do Othello as a rap song. They do Titus Andronicus as a cooking program. They do a whole bunch of really nonsense stuff with Shakespeare because it's funny and because it gets to the core of it. So if you guys get the chance, it's on YouTube. Take a look at it. Their version of Romeo and Juliet. It's like 20 minutes long, and it does a really fun job of just cutting through the nonsense of and summarizing the play and the points. And they also, all three actors have really good deliveries of the lines to give you an idea of what they sound like. And they also, because I'm holding the balcony scene, they do a fun take on the balcony scene. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let me ask you, what lines in here you have you started working on memorizing stuff?
Not really.
Okay. All right. So let's start. Let's look. All right. Anybody else have the balcony scene? Okay. Wow. Okay. Only a couple people picked the balcony scene. That's impressive. I like that. I like that you guys are picking, hopefully picking weirder scenes. No offense to you. Okay. So, let's see. Trying to think of a way to start this that'll help all of you. All right. So, famous speech here from Romeo. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I wore a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. Okay, that's just me reading the text, not going through any of the emotions there. So we all know where we are in the play in this moment. Yes. Yes. Okay. Anybody not? Okay, it's fine. Yeah. Gives me a chance to talk more. Please keep going. All right. So at this point, Romeo's met Juliet at the ball. They've kissed. They've had their first little flirtation. They had to separate, and he breaks into her house. He climbs over the wall, sneaks into her garden, and finds her up on the balcony of her bedroom, which actually, it says Juliet appears in a window above. For it being called the balcony scene, Shakespeare never mentions the balcony. And he hears her. He hears her talking about how much she likes him, and this leads into him making his presence known, and the two of them having their second little flirtation and deciding to get married, because that's what you do the same night you meet somebody. So let's see. I'm trying to think of how to do this other than just perform it. I really don't want to do that because I want to help you guys. All right. Let me go back. All right, can I put you on the spot?
Sure.
Can you do that first Romeo speech?
I guess.
Like, just say the words. I want to hear you.
I want to speak it.
Just speak it. Yeah.
But soft what light through yonder window breaks. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eyes discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Good. All right, good. Now I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. All right. Now do it like you're really, really nervous. Like you're really nervous. You know. Good. Channel that. Don't try to become. The thing about Romeo, and this goes through all of his scenes. It goes through a lot of Shakespeare's romantic male leads, and it touches Juliet a little bit. Romeo is constantly questioning, constantly overthinking, constantly backtracking. He is so unsure of what he wants, and so that's why I think when he sees Juliet and he finds somebody who connects with him and someone who he feels, he like someone who he sees and he connects with, and he wants that relationship. Think like that is what anchors him. That's why he goes after Juliet so aggressively, and that's why. Yeah, I think that's why he resorts to such drastic measures at the end. Think about being a teenager, having everyone is talking down to you, talking over you, talking around you, not taking you seriously. No one understands what you want. No one understands what's important to you or why you want the things you do. And then you meet someone who does. You connect with someone who does, whether it's romantic or it's a best friend. It's you find a good connection with a teacher or something. You have that connection, and then think about what you would do to keep that, and what you would do to hold on to it, and that first moment or the moment after the first time you feel that connection, and now you're thinking, and now you've got to okay, now you're thinking about it. You think about did I this, and this goes a little bit into Romeo's anxiety, Romeo's worries about him overanalyzing everything he does, but because he's been brought up that way. But he's now questioning and just trying to figure out, how do I keep this going? This felt so powerful to me. How do I keep this going? So think about, I'm just giving you time to get ready for this. So now try it kind of with that mindset. And do me a favor, try to ignore the formatting. Ignore the formatting, ignore where the punctuation is. Just say it, say it like you're trying to figure something out.
Okay.
You're not being graded on this, don't worry.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. It is my lady, oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eyes discourses, I will answer it. I am too bold, 'tis not to me she speaks. See how she leans upon her cheek, upon her hand up. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch her cheek.
There you go. I'm going to steal this from you in a second. Okay. So, did we notice a difference there?
Yeah.
Good. That's good. And for me throwing you under the bus right now, that was good. But let's add some more to it. First off, who knows what "but soft" means? Yeah.
Like it being soft.
Who is he talking to when he says that?
Yeah.
No.
Himself.
Himself. Yes. He's saying he's just snuck into her garden, and now he's trying to find her. He's trying to be close to her, and then remember he sees what light through yonder window breaks. He sees the light without knowing it's her. So, but soft is, I gotta be quiet. But soft. What? Gentle, good. Yeah, and then you see, what light through yonder window breaks. That line is one of the lines that everyone assumes you do. What light through yonder window? That's he's hiding in a bush. What light through yonder? He's trying to figure this out, and then he sees her. It's my lady. Oh, it is my love. Can I say that? I just met her. He's this whole speech and his whole character. He's going forward and back. It's a step forward and a step back. It's my lady. It's my love. Oh, that she knew this. I wish I could tell her this. She speaks, but says nothing. What of that? What does that mean? He's everything. She speaks, it says nothing. What of that? What does that mean? What am I? Her eye discourse. When you like somebody, you start paying attention to every single thing they do and trying to find meaning in it. You guys know that feeling?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. You can admit it. It's those. That's what Romeo's doing here. He's seeing she's speaking, but she's not saying anything. Okay, what does that mean? How does that relate to me? Her eye discourses. She looks around. I'll answer it, and then immediately he goes to, I am too bold. He's about to she's looking around. I'll stand up. No, I won't. I'm going too fast here. This is this is not to me she speaks. He's chiding himself. He's bringing himself back. And then and then he goes to, it's the just really just doting on her. See how she leans leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. That's just him. Just I don't know, like just that kind of cute like. Oh, see, that's so cute the way she does that. I wish I were a glove on that hand. And I could touch her. Oh, that'd be nice. Like that's him, just imagining what this relationship could be. Like he's nervous. He's trying to figure out. He's trying to analyze and plan out the best way to get this girl that he likes to like him back. And that's his whole. And throughout the whole thing with this scene, until he, even when the two of them finally start talking to each other later in the scene, it's still the same kind of thing. His next line, all she says is "I me," which means just, That's all that moment is. It's just her. "I me" is just her being like, Jeez, that was a thing. That's her just trying to get this weight of meeting Romeo off her chest and feeling that. And then to her basically just coming out and being like, whew, his response is, she speaks. Speak again, bright angel. Like he is proclaiming his love no matter what she does, he's proclaiming his love at. And he's anxious, he's nervous, he's anything from her, any glance, any movement that might involve him, he is so excited for. And then, oh Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Do you guys talk about what that means?
Yes.
Okay, so who can tell me what it means? Yeah.
Okay. She's looking for him. Like she wants him to show himself.
Not yet. I don't think she knows he's there. Yes.
This is part is my quote. She's saying it what's in it, Montague. Even though your name is Montague, she'll still love him the same, and he'll still be the same person, even with his last name.
Yes.
Yes.
No, you're good. You're good.
And his name doesn't define him.
Yep. That's when we get to what's in a name. That which we call a rose by any other name, by any other name, but still smells sweet. Here were a couple thoughts before that moment, before she gets there. When she says, "Wherefore art thou Romeo?" Wherefore, you guys know, means why. So when she's saying, "Why are you Romeo?" If this was anybody else, this relationship would be super easy. We could just date. But why did you have to be Romeo? Yeah, why did you have to be a Montague? Why did this? And now this is that conflict that they both have of we love each other, but our families never will. Until Friar Lawrence gets involved and decides to try to make a thing out of it. Honestly, Friar Lawrence is the bad guy in this play. Let's see. So she starts thinking about Romeo here with "Oh Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?" She's still fixated on him. Deny, and she's saying, "Deny thy father, refuse thy name." So turn away from your family, and don't be a Montague. Or if you won't, be just swear, swear your love to me, and I won't be a Capulet anymore.
Eric, I'm sorry. Could I just interrupt for a moment?
Please, yeah.
Mrs. Conklin and I love how you gave Gio a specific tone word to work on with the lines.
Yeah.
And we were wondering if maybe we could pair off the Romeos, and they could work on being nervous together.
Sure.
The Tybbalts, let's get a line and grab a line for Tybalt. Peace, I hate the word. Maybe they could practice some
totally.
anger in there. Anybody who would be the nurse could practice being inappropriate. Right, for trying to make us laugh.
Cool.
Maybe we could do something so that it's not just Gio up on here.
I'm fine. Yeah,
I think
Gio.
Yeah, he's doing all right. Gio. Yep.
So if we could do something.
All right. So you got it. All right. How many Romeos are in the audience?
Well, that you're going to play
That you're gonna-
in your film.
Not real life.
All right.
Yeah. Pick a better character to model your relationships off of, Matt. All right. So Romeo. Let's see. Do they already have pairs and scene partners yet? Or
They
no?
know who they're going to
They
be.
know, they have their groups, they have their scenes, Gio had his script. So
Okay.
in his group, he already worked out, who's playing.
Who's playing who?
which
Yeah. So
role.
you had the list on the top. All right, cool. So, all right, so Romeo's. Yeah, like we were saying, nervous, anxious, just overthinking, trying, analyzing everything to try to make Juliet fall for you. Where are Juliet's? All right, who are all of you guys playing?
Yeah, we have Mercutio, we have Tybalt. I mean, they,
Yeah.
because there's so many
Yeah.
cards.
Oh, yeah.
We might have a Peter in there. I don't know.
Anyone playing Balthazar? Anyway, all right, guys, bring it back. You're gonna get a chance to talk. You get a chance to talk and get up in 1 second. All right. So Juliet's very similar to Romeo. Very similar. You two are. There is kind of, as much as I'm not a huge fan of this play. There's that. There is this nice core where Romeo and Juliet really do feel like characters. Really do feel different from everyone else and feel really close to each other. Romeo, I think, is more brash and more energetic about it, and Juliet's a little more reserved. But there's still that anxiousness, that questioning, that trying to figure out how can this work? How can we be together? And if you notice throughout the play, Juliet's the one doing all the planning. She's the one telling Romeo good night, telling him I will send someone to you the next day. She's the one planning out the relationship until Friar Lawrence gets involved. So with her, she's more thoughtful. She's a little more internal than Romeo is, but she still has that nervous energy and still has that kind of like, oh, what if? There's a lot of like, for lack of a better word, Disney princess in her. Just having that feeling of, not thinking Belle, thinking a little bit Snow White, just that feeling of trying to find a way to make this weird situation work. So Juliet, think about that. Think about trying to. This is important. This is amazing. You really want this, but also let's do it right. Tybalt's. Where are Tybalt's?
No one cast Tybalt?
We got one. Two Tybalt's.
I don't have lines though. So
No.
I'm just fine.
And you give it to
You guys can raise your hands. I know you're playing roles somewhere. Sometimes, yeah.
Miss Ham has Tybalt. Come on.
All right. All right, cool. So anyone playing Tybalt? All right. Anyone playing Tybalt? Tybalt's fun because Tybalt is, she brought the line peace. I hate the word. That's kind of Tybalt's whole thing. Tybalt, I think, is more invested in this family feud than anyone else is. This is his chance to be awesome. This is his chance to be the hero. Tybalt wants to be the lead. Think about that for any of you reading Tybalt. Tybalt wants to be the main character here. He is doing everything he can to be the hero. So he's coming in with a lot of swagger. He's throwing out one-liners. He's insulting everyone. He's challenging everyone to fights. He's like, think of him as a badass. He walks away from explosions and doesn't look back. So when you're reading Tybalt, picture him that way. Picture that character when you say those lines. All right, let's see. Friar Lawrence. Who's Friar Lawrence? Yeah. All right, cool. All right. So, now Friar Lawrence. Friar Lawrence's character. He's trying to. He's kind of an optimist, but he is trying to, at his core, trying to make this crazy thing work. He cares for Romeo and Juliet, but he also sees the bigger picture of, if you guys get married, that might bring an end to the fighting. That might be the thing that brings your families together. So with Friar Lawrence, think of him almost in the scenes with Romeo and Juliet, which are kind of the only scenes that he's mostly got. Think of him in a parental and a fatherly kind of approach. That he's caring for them. He's trying to help them. That's kind of where he's coming from with all the scenes, or that's what he's displaying to them with all the scenes. Let's see, who else we got? Mercutio. Where's Mercutio? Any Mercutios? Got a couple. Good. So Mercutio is probably the most fun role in the play, just because he basically does whatever he wants. He's the cousin to the prince, so he's never going to get in trouble for anything he does. He's the partier. He's the one who just everyone knows. It's a real party when Mercutio shows up. That's his character. He's making everybody laugh. He's having a ton of fun with it. But at the core of him, he's very loyal to Romeo. Like he's very loyal to his friends, which is So let's see what scenes do we have with Mercutio? Do we know? The fight scene.
With Mercutio and Tybalt.
The fight scene with Mercutio and Tybalt. Okay. Does anybody have the Queen Mab scene where he's talking about dreams?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's.
Oh, that's Act 1.
Is it Act 1?
Wait.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
There's also that scene where Mercutio was making fun of the nurse. That was
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where the
nurse went to tell Romeo where.
Let's see. Is Romeo there? It's him. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scene 4.
Yes. Scene 4. There we go. Yeah. That one's fun because it's like with Mercutio, he just like. He's sarcastic. Anytime someone says something important, he gets to kind of joke around and tear it down a little bit. The one of his opening lines. I'm going back to Act 1, but he's got Romeo says, "I dreamt a dream tonight." Romeo puts so much stock in dreams, and everything's important, and he's a teenager, and everything is important and magical and wonderful, and just the biggest thing that's ever happened. And he says, "I dreamt a dream tonight." And Mercutio's, well, so did I. You're not special. And Romeo says, "And what was yours?" And Mercutio says, "That dreamers often lie." And it's him just messing with Romeo, and knowing Romeo takes everything so seriously, Mercutio is just kind of, like he's taking the wind out of his sails a little bit. He's having fun with it, and that's one of the things that kind of. Thank you. I think you could say that if you wanted to.
20 minutes left.
There you go. That's the core of Mercutio. So just when you're reading Mercutio, try to have fun with it, and try to imagine the sarcasm that he's having, that everything everyone else finds so important, he finds funny. Which should be kind of related. I mean, I'm bet some of you are thinking that today right now with me talking here, that I'm going through all this stuff about Shakespeare, and you're like, dude, whatever.
Well, I know that they prepared several different questions. Well, all of us, right? Several questions about our scenes or your own experience. So we'd love to open up the floor.
Let's open it up.
To these curious minds who would like to express that curiosity.
All right, hit me up. Go for it.
In some way.
Do you ever have to act out something that makes you feel uncomfortable? And if so, what do you do in order to cope?
I have a couple times I had to act out something that's made me uncomfortable. A lot of it, mostly with me, it's been uncomfortable because of just doing either bringing up certain emotions or whatever. And I try to like kind of wall it off to just the act, to just the show. And I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna let my mind go to this place, or let myself feel this for this amount of time, and then I'm gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna find just different. I mean, there's so many things that might make you uncomfortable. With me, I'm thinking like going to places where my anxiety or my things in my past that kind of trigger me. Trying to so I've got coping mechanisms to deal with it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to let myself go there now because I need to, because the play asks me to, and then I'm going to pull back. The other thing that helps with doing a scene is trying to fit it into a broader character, so that it's so that in some level it's not Eric going to that place. It's Hamlet. It's Tybalt. It's Ophelia. Whatever. Yeah.
On the chorus.
Okay.
Do I have to talk to everybody?
The chorus is. Okay. The
Should I
chorus.
talk in my normal voice, or should I do like an old voice?
Do the. I'm gonna quote Hamlet here for a second. Hamlet has a great speech in Act 3 about the point of acting, and he says the purpose of playing, of performing, is to hold us toward a mirror up to nature, to perform to a way that just reflects the real world. Whether it's, and he says both, don't make it extra beautiful, don't make it extra ugly, show all of it as it is.
It's like my real.
So do whatever voice feels real to you. What scene are you doing with the chorus?
Act 2, right? You're doing
Act 2 scene.
Give me. I'm not gonna do another scene. Give me a couple lines.
It's the beginning. Before Juliet appears in the window. So it's like before Romeo hops the fence, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. I think you're.
So it's old desire in his deathbed lie, and new affection gapes to be there.
Okay.
How did you remember that?
She's taught it enough times. Yeah. It depends how you want to do the chorus. And the chorus for being, does kind of get overlooked in plays, but I always find when a play has a narrator who clearly has their own agenda, it becomes much more interesting.
It's obviously the most important part.
I mean, it totally can be.
Play it as a issue.
So you can come up and be like, the next most important romantic thing that happened was this. Or you can come up and be like, okay, so that happened. Next is going to be this. I don't know. I don't feel it. Whatever. You can do it. However you let your feelings or whatever your character you're kind of thinking about for the chorus. Let your feelings kind of build into play it that way.
And it might be important. I know with times we've done performance or presentations before.
Yeah.
I've explained that it's important to kind of also kind of own whatever you choose. So if it's going to be kind of a comedic delivery, then when you get into the first scene that you're performing with the characters, it might make sense that vibe kind of carries through. So
Absolutely.
Kind of work with your group to decide. I think that they are portraying. I think we have a male portraying Juliet
Nice.
in that scene, right?
Classic Shakespeare.
Okay. So we changed it. Never mind.
Yep. Yeah, and the best way to do, the best way to do tragedy is to do it like it's comedy, and vice versa. That if you're doing a tragedy where everyone knows it's gonna end badly, it's not interesting. It's if everyone knows they're gonna die at the end, who cares? The fact that they die at the end is not interesting. The fact that they're trying to get to that happy ending and fail, that's more interesting. So Mercutio, even though he's in a tragedy, and even Romeo, when he's hanging out with Mercutio, and Benvolio as well, they're having fun with this. They have to have these moments of joy. Think about that moment when you meet someone you really like, and oh my God, the rest of the day you're just like, this is awesome. That's they're having so much fun with it. Let that play in there. Let that be there, because that's what separates people. I'm going to jump on you a little bit again on Hamlet. That's what separates Hamlets who are miserable and suicidal and nihilistic from Hamlets that are much more dynamic and engaging. And you feel when Hamlet shows up. If Hamlet shows up and goes, "I just want to be dead," and then at the end of the play he dies, okay. When Hamlet shows up and is having fun and is like, I want my life back. I just want to go back to the way it was and enjoy myself and have marry the girl I love, and then fails. That's more tragic. That's more interesting. So with Romeo and Juliet, find those moments to have fun with it. So going a comedic direction is not a bad idea. Also, going a comedic direction, I think, can help with the delivery and kind of tone down the I need to Shakespeare this, because because no one actually talks like that, and that gets really old and really unnatural. Who else has questions? Questions? Yeah.
How do you connect with your character?
With me, there's so part of it is just finding things about Hamlet or about the character that I relate to. I'm thinking Hamlet, that's what I'm in now. But one of the tricks I use is I find a song. I find a song that I connect with, that somehow connects me with the character. And sometimes it's just, it's a song I'll find and I'll have, it'll make me feel, like I'll look in the mirror when I'm hearing the song and I'll be like, okay, I'll see the reflection that I see of myself. Like, all right, yeah, no, this is how I want to stand, I want to look, I want to feel when I'm playing the character. Other times it's a song that will connect with one of the characters' like deeper needs that I just want to hold on to and want to just have in my head in the background when I'm playing the part. That's what works for me.
What song's working for Hamlet?
I try to keep that to myself until I play him, until the run's over. I'm trying to think of what. what other ones I've used in the past. Any My Chemical Romance fans in here? Okay. Any fans of Shinedown? Yeah. Okay. But when I played a character named Katurian in a show called The Pillow Man, which you should all absolutely see if you get the chance. But also, you're never gonna see it in school because it's very, very R-rated. But the lead in that Disenchanted from Black Parade was one of the songs that got me the headset for that, because that plays. That's another tragedy where the character starts off really happy and just like, yeah, this is going to be great, and then just gets beaten down until the end of the play. Yeah. It's a tragedy, but it's so well written. Yeah.
What made you decide to come here to Ocean Township High School?
My mom teaches here. I've lived in Ocean my whole life, and
Mrs. Hackler is a good friend of mine. She's a librarian,
Yep.
as you guys know, at Wayside. And we always gloat about our children. So she mentioned about Eric playing Hanley. No.
Yep. So that's why I'm here, and the chance to try to help you guys through some of this, because I remember being in high school and Shakespeare I didn't really start really finding Shakespeare until I started doing shows after high school, and being like, oh, okay, what he's talking about is fairly normal stuff. You just have to get through the language. Do you have your hand up? Yeah.
Yes. How do you take yourself seriously when you're acting and not laugh at everything you say?
This is an important question I want everyone to listen to, because I know when you go to film, that it's going to be very difficult, especially being with your best friend.
Yeah.
To get through this. That's a great question.
All right. So not laugh. All right. So some of it is, I'm trying to on some level, you have to kind of dig into that emotional core. And on some level, you have to imagine that these really big and important. For as much as I'm talking down the importance of Shakespeare, the things that he's talking about can really be important. It's not the language that makes them important; it's the things themselves. So, and I know it's really hard when you're hanging out with your friends and you're doing a project for school, and it's hard to dig in and really take it seriously. But with Romeo, the thing about Romeo and Juliet, they take things a lot more seriously, and they're the ones who really have to dig into this whole romantic thing and have try to be in that space. Though the other thing that helps is your characters can laugh. If something happens that's funny, it's not out of character to laugh and try to just be a version of let your Romeo be lighthearted in some scenes. Even that scene that we were talking about a little bit earlier. He can realize he's overanalyzing and kind of laugh at himself a little bit. He can So that's kind of for me when I find a moment that the moment that makes me laugh. Usually and if it's, I'm trying to think how to say it. Part of it is just kind of if it's a really serious moment, you kind of have to just dig your way through it and just remember what you're doing and where you are. Imagine having a song, having some kind of audio or visual idea in your head. So if you're doing, is anyone doing their death scene? All right, there we go. That's what you guys think. Okay. So, all right. So the death scene. Imagine, all right. How many of you guys have been to a funeral? Okay. You guys remember what that felt like? That feeling where everyone's thinking, all right, can we talk? Do we talk? What do we say? There's that weight that just kind of hangs there. Draw on that if you're doing the death scene. Draw on that feeling of this is important. Imagine when you're doing that scene in your head. Imagine that it's taking place wherever that funeral was. That was some way to try to bring you back to that place, and let that kind of hang on you, and see if that helps with keeping you in the moment. Having some kind of music or some kind of something that plays, even if you're playing it on set and then you turn it off right before you start filming. just try to keep you in that mindset. And then when you finish that for the day or finish the scene, like, do something ridiculous, do something silly. Have a reason to break that, and and laugh, and let's let all that energy out, because being miserable and going through those really sad, tragic moments, that's not really, that's not a release. We laugh in this case. We laugh to release this tension we're building up of being serious and being sad and being really just, this moment is the most defining my life, and that just builds everything up. We laugh to help release that. So try to kind of hold it back and then have that release. Have that, find someone, do something really ridiculous afterwards, to let it all out. That's kind of what it is. You kind of just have to hold it in for a bit, and then at the end, and then release it all at the end. Any other questions? Any lines you guys don't understand? Any moments you want me to try to translate a little bit for you? Try to get you through some of the Shakespeare.
Does anybody want to practice a line, come out and do some reading, maybe with another person in your group?
You guys, if someone wants to come up and do it, you're more than welcome to.
Can we return to our...
Yeah, sure.
Well, Gio has already had experience.
Yep.
And Francesca, you're actually going to be doing without me seeing.
Okay, cool. So yeah, stand wherever you want.
What are we doing?
Just read it. Real quick, small note. Have you guys been told you read to the punctuation, not to the end of the line?
We really haven't done much in terms of performance.
Okay. So
except reading in class and following it.
Gotcha. All right. So look at your scripts. You'll notice not all of the lines end with punctuation. Some of them don't. Don't pause there. Carry on to the next moment. Sometimes it helps. And I don't want to give you guys extra work, so only do this if you think it's going to help you. But it does help me sometimes to actually write out my lines without the formatting. And yeah, that way I'm able to see it a little more as just people talking rather than people talking in verse. Okay. Do a little bit of the balcony scene.
Can we just go wherever?
Yeah.
Do that. You want to do that?
Alright. I may.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel.
O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What is in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other word would smell as sweet.
Juliet, figure this out as you're saying it. Do a little bit again. Just as you're saying it, like you're thinking this through. How can we be together? How can we make this work?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What is in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other word would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
Good. You going?
I don't know.
Go a little longer. Go a little
Okay. I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus beseeched in night, so stumblest on my counsel?
My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I written it, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's uttering, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place of death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
Okay, cool. We'll stop there. You guys invested? Or you still doing? Good job. The other challenge to doing a lot of Shakespeare is he's using words that we don't say now, but we have to still give them the weight that they would have now. Where's Juliet's line? How camest thou hither tell me and wherefore? Which is not a thing we say at all, but it's like that's an important like tell me, how did you get here and why are you here? That's so try. The other thing that sometimes helps me is to write out the lines in our version of modern English, to just find those moments that really need the weight and which ones don't. But yeah, so notice here you go. Yeah. Notice throughout this, Romeo is still proclamations of love. Not he'll change. If I had written, my name is hateful to me. If I'd written it, I would tear the word. He's like, if I could destroy it, I would get rid of everything that I am if I can be with you. He's starting to think about all these things that have been so important to him, but don't matter to him anymore because he loves her, and that's the most important thing. And Juliet has probably been counseled all her life about how she has to be careful, not only around men but also around Montagues. And so she's trying. You're fighting against all these impulses that you've been, all these reflexes you've been kind of groomed to have. Of right, but I feel this way. But you're a Montague. But how can I trust you? But why did you sneak into my garden? And you want him. You want him to have the right answers, which he does. You want him to overcome all your fears, but you're still scared. You're still scared about trying to find, you more than Romeo realize how big of an issue this might be. And so you're trying to figure out how can this work. And then when it does, oh my God, yes. When they get to the end of that scene and they've gotten past all the questions and are finally just expressing their love, that's talking about staying serious and then breaking it and then breaking and laughing and having that moment of release. That's that moment for her. Once he's satisfied once he's satisfied her questions, yeah, let's do this. So think about the scene in that context when you guys are working on it.
Can you do the scene, just
Yeah.
the beginning of the scene over with that direction?
Yeah.
With that emotion?
Have either of you got this memorized? You both need the script.
Need the script.
Okay, cool.
But soft, what lit through yonder window breaks. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eyes discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I gave a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
I may.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel.
O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father, and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art myself, though not a Montague. What is in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other word would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called. Retain that dear perfection which he owes without the title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name, which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus beseeched in the night, so stumblest on my counsel?
Let me pause you for a second. When you say I take you at thy word, that's you standing up and speaking to her. And Juliet.
Where? Oh.
I take the word. And Juliet, you thought you were alone in your garden. So all of a sudden the guy you're talking about how much you like jumps out of the bushes. What's the reaction there?
Act that out, I guess.
You can act it out. I mean, just even, and this some versions have Juliet scream and be like, "What the?" Some versions have her just incredibly excited. Some versions have her playing sarcastic, being like, "Really?" And then getting into it. So that's the other thing about Shakespeare is that he's so light on the stage directions, on when people move and how they react. Is everything is so light on the directions. You guys can add that in. Add in the pauses. Decide when to speak fast, when to speak slow. Decide when to scream, when to laugh, when to have those moments. Those things, like those moments of pure emotion, of screaming. Yeah. We're about out of time.
We're gonna wrap it up.
Okay, but let those things kind of sneak in there and react to it.
Perform this?
Yes. Let's go. Oh, you got it.
My students know that I can get up all day and talk in front of them, but this freaks me out right now. I'm freaking out.
So freaked out.
What are we going to do? I'll let you pick something.
No, we'll do a Geo.
Okay, all right.
Or you want to shout out a scene to us? What would you like to see us do?
Which one?
That scene.
Well, because we have to do sing on.
Like when they're done.
Yeah, but then I'd be.
Well, then you don't need me. It's just
Both of you would be dead.
Wait, I'll just be.
Balcony, are you a
Balcony. All right.
To the balcony.
Who are you? I could be Romeo.
You be Romeo. I'll be Juliet.
All right. I'm going to start, though, where Romeo jumps over the orchard wall, and he's talking about Mercutio, where he's saying he jested scars that never felt a wound. All right? So he jumps over, jested scars that never felt a wound. What light are beyond your window? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. I'm going to skip because this is real. He goes on and on and on. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks. It says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. No, I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Hold on. Okay. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night as I'm gonna skip this. Go ahead.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's a Montague? It's nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll move as he. Henceforth, never will I be Romeo.
What man art thou? Thus be screened in night, so stumblest upon my counsel.
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself. I have to open the door.
All right, I'll meet you back at B108.